Tashtalek, I'm Tenzin Shimi and you're watching Tibet This Week, Tibettv's weekly news bulletin on His Holiness the Dalai Lama, Tibet and the Central Tibetan Administration. Let us look at the headlines first. Global celebrations erupt as His Holiness the Dalai Lama wins Grammy Award. Tibetan monastic leader reports missing following arbitrary detention in Tibet. Sikyong Penpa Tsering continues Tibet advocacy at Capitol Hill, calls on the bipartisan legislators. United States reaffirms bipartisan support through preservation of crucial Tibet funding. United Nations report warns China for erasing Tibetan civilization. Education Department and Drepung Loseling hold workshop on sea learning. 2-month exhibition on His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama concludes in Brussels. Mandi Ghoton committee organizes dry ration and kitchen aid donation for charitable old age homes. News and social media this week were abuzz with widespread celebration as His Holiness the Dalai Lama won his first Grammy Award for the spoken word album Meditations, the Reflections of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. The album received the award for Best Audiobook, Narration and Storytelling Recording at the 68th Annual Grammy Awards held in Los Angeles. Expressing gratitude and humility, His Holiness noted that the recognition reflects a shared, universal responsibility for peace, compassion, and care for our environment and helps foster a deeper understanding of the oneness of humanity for the collective well-being of all. Meditations is a unique collaboration between His Holiness the Dalai Lama and renowned Sarod maestro Ustad Amjad Ali Khan, alongside his sons Aman Ali Bangash and Ayan Ali Bangash. The album also features contributions from acclaimed artists such as Maggie Rogers, Rufus Wainwright, and Andra Day, and is produced by Kabir Sehgal. According to the Tibetan Center for Human Rights and Democracy, Chinese authorities have reportedly detained Lobsang Lungrik, a Tibetan Buddhist Lama and senior religious official in Qinghai province, with his whereabouts remaining unknown since December 2024. Lobsang Lungrik, age 51, is the head Lama of Bagun Monastery, a Gelug monastery located in Chumarlep in the traditional province of Kham, eastern Tibet. The Tibetan Center for Human Rights and Democracy suspects Lobsang Lungrik's detention may be linked to allegations that he assisted a geshe or a senior Buddhist scholar who had returned from India and was residing at Bagun Monastery as a scripture teacher. Sources informed Tibetan Center for Human Rights and Democracy that the geshe later died of natural causes at Bagun Monastery, although the exact date of his death remains unclear. Despite this, authorities have reportedly accused Lobsang Lungrik of providing assistance to the geshe and of sending funds abroad, allegedly to India. Lobsang Lungrik, who had held multiple state-recognized senior positions prior to his detention, had been removed from the positions. Lobsang Lungrik was born on 25 August 1975 in Chumarlep County. In the year 1982, he was recognized as the 11th incarnation of Padri Gyuchen. He studied for more than 21 years at Sera Monastery in Lhasa, and in July 2002, he was appointed advisor to the Kangyur and Tengyur Collation Office of the China Tibetology Research Center. He graduated from the Advanced Tibetan Buddhist Institute of China in the year 2003 and later obtained a master's degree from Qinghai Normal University in March 2015. The reports say Chinese authorities have not disclosed the legal grounds for Lobsang Lungrik's detention, nor confirmed his location or access to legal counsel. Sikyong Penpa Tsering held a series of high-level meetings in Washington, D.C. aimed at advancing a deeper understanding of the People's Republic of China as Beijing continues to shape global narratives through systematic disinformation to delegitimize the Tibetan struggle, human rights violations inside Tibet, and influence international opinion on significant issues, including the succession of His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. Sikyong also addressed the International Religious Freedom Summit during a special session titled Tibetan Moment. The session also featured longtime champion for Tibet, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi. Sikyong, accompanied by Representative 𝑻𝒊𝒃𝒆𝒕 and Chinese Liaison Officer 𝒉𝒐 𝒊𝒔 of Office of Tibet, Washington, D.C., as well as President Tianchue Gyatso and Executive Director Reaffirms of the International Campaign for Tibet, engaged in high-level meetings with Chairman Brian Mast, Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi, Congresswoman Young Kim, Congresswoman Dina Titus, and Representative Michael McCall, thereby reaffirming the enduring bipartisan support for the Tibetan cause. Sikyong addressed students at Georgetown University on the geopolitical significance of Tibet and engaged in an interactive question and answer session afterward. A meeting also took place with Congressman Jim McGovern, Congressman James R. Walkinshaw, and Congressman Joe Wilson. During the discussion, Sikyong underscored the importance of credible scholarly works such as Professor Hon Xiang Lao's book. The book's English edition was released last week, while the original Chinese version remains uncontested by the People's Republic of China. The publication draws exclusively on authoritative Chinese historical records and documents, presenting a scholarly examination of Tibet's historical status through China's own sources. Sikyong participated as a plenary speaker at the International Religious Freedom Summit and spoke on Tibetan democracy in exile and religious freedom at an event hosted by Atlantic Council on Tuesday this week.
If the Sino-Tibet conflict is resolved, then India-China border issue also could be resolved, because it's India-Tibet border. Even today, Indians call it Indo-Tibetan Border Police, Indo-Tibetan Border Force, not Indo-China border. That underlies Indian government's thinking, because Tibet has always been the buffer between China and India over centuries, because to understand Tibetan history, you have to understand Tibetan geography also, because Tibet is called as the roof of the world. We call ourselves the land surrounded by snow mountain ranges. It's the highest plateau and the biggest plateau on earth. And Chinese environmental scientists today call Tibet the third pole, because Tibet has the largest amount of glaciers and permafrost that feeds all these major rivers in Asia. And then Tibet is also called as the water tower of Asia. So it has a lot of environmental, geostrategic, cultural implications, not only for the Tibetans, but for the whole world.
During meetings with think tanks last weekend, Sikyong Penpa Tsering underscored the importance of credible documentation, fact-based advocacy, and rigorous scholarly works. The United States have retained Tibet-related foreign assistance in the fiscal year 2026 Consolidated Appropriations Act, which passed both houses of Congress and was signed into law by President Trump this Tuesday. The bill's preservation of Tibet's funding at the traditionally appropriated levels sends a strong message of continued bipartisan United States support for the Tibetan people. The International Campaign for Tibet also reported that the bill restores Voice of America and Radio Free Asia by funding the United States Agency for Global Media, thereby reviving Voice of America and Radio Free Asia's essential broadcasting and reporting activities. A United Nations report has issued one of the clearest warnings to date that Chinese state policies in Tibet are actively eroding the foundations of Tibetan civilization, threatening the survival of Tibetans as a distinct people. These findings appear in a report to the United Nations Human Rights Council by the Special Rapporteur on Minority Issues, Nicholas Leverett. While global in scope, the report explicitly identifies Tibet as a case where state-led policies are not merely discriminatory, but constitute what the United Nations expert describes as eradication in more subtle ways. At the center of this warning is China's worst boarding school system imposed on Tibetan children. Appreciating the important United Nations report from the Special Rapporteur on Minorities, 𝒊𝒃𝒆𝒕, representative of His Holiness the Dalai Lama Tibet Bureau Geneva, noted that the international community must recognize and act urgently to protect the survival of Tibetan civilization. The Department of Education of Central Tibetan Administration, in collaboration with Drepung Loseling Meditation and Science Research Center, held a 3-day training program on secular ethics and sea learning in Mundkot, South India. The workshop was facilitated by Geshe Lobsang Tenzin Negi from Emory University and other sea learning facilitators. The program drew 25 teachers and 20 coordinators from various regions and monastic schools. The 2-month exhibition dedicated to His Holiness the Dalai Lama concludes at the House of Compassion in Brussels after being extended due to strong public interest. The exhibition was realized through a collaboration between the Office of Tibet Brussels and the House of Compassion and offered insights into the life, values and universal message of compassion, peace and nonviolence through a series of photographs, text and curated displays. Organizers noted steady public interest throughout the exhibition period, drawing visitors from diverse backgrounds, and with the closing in Brussels, the exhibition continues its journey as a traveling project. The Mandi Ghoton committee organized a humanitarian initiative as part of the Year of Compassion marking His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama's 90th birthday celebration by donating 1 month's dry ration and providing essential kitchen aid to 2 charitable old age homes in Mandi district. That is all for this week. For daily updates, please visit our websites, Facebook and YouTube pages. Thank you for watching.